Have you ever noticed that? Even in a world full of technology and hustle and bustle, there's a silent force that continues to call to us. Perhaps you feel it when you look at the moon, when you hear the wind swaying the trees, or when a simple shower of rain seems to renew your energy. The truth is, many have tried to hide this secret, labeling it superstitious or even dangerous. But what few people share is that Wicca magic isn't dark witchcraft, but rather a spiritual awakening that reveals the abundance and hidden power of nature. And here's a provocation. How many times have you ignored your intuition? That gut feeling that seemed to want to protect you? Wicca teaches that this isn't a coincidence, but a sign that the energy of the universe speaks to you all the time. When we learn to listen, we discover that we are part of something much greater, connected by a sacred circle of balance and wisdom. It's almost counterintuitive to think that true strength lies not in complicated formulas, but in simple gestures that anyone can practice. Best of all, this journey doesn't require you to believe in dogma or follow rigid rules. On the contrary, Wicca allows each person to awaken their own inner power, exploring the mysteries of spirituality through the moon, the elements, and ancestral rituals. The reward is clear: protection, healing, harmony, and transformation in your daily life. But be careful. The deeper you delve into this path, the harder it will be to see the world the same way again, because spiritual awakening is irreversible. Since ancient times, human beings have carried within them the call of nature, even though they often ignore this silent invitation. Wicca reminds us that every breath of wind, every drop of water, every flame of fire, and every grain of earth are living manifestations of energy and spirituality. It is in this awakening that we realize that magic is not distant, but pulses in the heart of the moon, the elements, and even in the silence of a forest at dawn. Those who learn to hear this call discover a secret that has always been hidden: the missing link between humanity and the cosmos. Imagine, for example, walking barefoot in a garden right after it rains. The smell of wet earth isn't just a poetic detail, it's an ancient spell that reconnects us to the sacred circle of life. In Wiccan practice, simple gestures like lighting a candle to represent fire or holding a stone to feel its strength can become powerful rituals of balance. These moments bring such profound harmony that even the heaviest worries seem to dissolve into thin air. It's as if nature itself offers us healing and protection in every detail. This connection isn't abstract, it's palpable. Just observe how the moon influences the tides, harvests, and even human moods. Those who learn to work with these cycles realize they are constantly surrounded by abundance and transformation. Wiccan spirituality shows us that this spiritual awakening is more than a practice. It's a lifestyle, a sacred knowledge that reveals the power of connecting with the elements. And it is precisely from this spark of wisdom that the next step on the Wiccan path is born. One that delves even deeper into the power that exists within each person. Within every human being lies a silent flame, an energy that many are unaware of or choose to ignore. Wicca teaches that this power is not something distant or inaccessible, but rather a natural force waiting for the right moment to be revealed. When someone begins to walk this path, they discover that hidden gifts, previously seen as mere intuitions or coincidences, are actually clear signs of spirituality and magic in motion. This awakening is not sudden, but a gradual process of self-discovery that brings balance to the mind and heart. A practical example of this is realizing how small daily choices can become powerful rituals. Lighting a candle for mental clarity before an important decision, carrying a crystal for protection during work, or simply meditating silently, feeling the energy of your breath, are all acts that activate inner strength. Each gesture strengthens the connection with the sacred, bringing healing and transformation. It is at this point that the practitioner understands that magic is not something separate from ordinary life, but an invisible thread connecting the everyday to the hidden mystery. This spiritual awakening doesn't mean becoming someone different, but revealing the essence that has always been there, hidden beneath layers of fear, doubt, and oblivion. Wicca invites each person to recognize themselves as part of the divine, discovering wisdom in their own experiences. And as this power expands, the worldview changes. Everything begins to carry meaning, from the song of a bird to the silence of the full moon. It is at this moment that a natural curiosity arises to understand the ancient symbols and rituals, the very ones that hold the secrets of protection and transformation. The ancients knew that the visible world is merely the surface of a much deeper ocean. Therefore, they created rituals, sacred circles, and symbols that have spanned generations, carrying the energy of protection, abundance, and healing. When someone enters a magic circle, they are not simply tracing a space on the ground. They are opening a connection between the human and the divine, between the present and the ancestral. It is as if each whispered word and each gesture activates hidden forces that rest in nature, waiting to be awakened. In practice, this can be as simple as drawing a circle with coarse salt on the ground before meditation, or placing candles representing the 4 elements, fire, water, air, and earth, around oneself. By doing so, the surrounding energy shifts, and one feels balance established. Symbols, like the pentagram, are not ornaments, but keys that open portals of wisdom and spirituality. These ancient rituals were not just beliefs. They were strategies for harmony and protection that have endured for centuries, and remain alive and effective today. Every gesture, every word, every spell carried with it a sacred wisdom that connected humans to the cosmos. Many modern practitioners are surprised to realize that repeating an ancient invocation is like conversing with generations that came before, keeping the energy of knowledge alive. This ancestral connection brings strength, white magic, and transformation, reminding us that we are not alone on this journey. And it is precisely at this point that the path deepens, revealing the hidden power of herbs and crystals, natural guardians that further amplify the energy of rituals. Herbs and crystals have always been silent allies of humanity, carrying hidden secrets that Wicca values as an essential part of its spirituality. Each plant and stone holds a unique energy, a vibration capable of bringing healing, protection, or even abundance. A simple sprig of rosemary can be used to clear negative energies, while an amethyst helps calm the mind and open the path to spiritual awakening. These elements are not mere objects of nature, but true channels of power and ancient wisdom. Practicing magic with herbs and crystals doesn't require complexity. Lighting lavender incense to harmonize the environment, placing rose quartz under your pillow to strengthen the energy of love, or carrying a black tourmaline in your pocket for protection are examples of simple yet powerful spells. What seems like a mere symbolic gesture becomes a ritual when performed with intention, connection, and balance. The energy of these elements combines with that of the practitioner, creating a direct bridge between the visible and the invisible. These natural allies remind us that magic lies not in grand demonstrations, but in the subtlety of small practices that transform everyday life. When someone prepares chamomile tea for peace, or places crystals under the moonlight to recharge them, they are connecting with the sacred circle of life. It is in this flow of harmony that we understand the force of nature as a living divinity, ever ready to guide us. And it is precisely in this movement that another Wiccan mystery is revealed: the eternal dance of the moon and natural cycles, where each phase opens new possibilities for transformation. Since ancient times, the moon has exerted an almost hypnotic fascination over human beings. Its cycles, new, waxing, full, and waning, are not just movements in the sky, but living expressions of nature's energy. Wicca recognizes this mystery as an essential part of white magic, teaching that each lunar phase holds a unique power: the new moon to initiate, the waxing to nourish, the full to empower, and the waning to liberate. By understanding these rhythms, the practitioner awakens a profound connection with universal balance. Applying this knowledge to everyday life can be simpler than it seems. During a full moon, for example, writing intentions on a piece of paper and burning it in a small fire ritual helps release energy for the manifestation of desires. During a waning moon, storing dried rue leaves in a protective circle can help ward off negative energies. These spells are not superstition, but practical ways to align personal energy with the elements and with one's own spirituality, creating harmony between the visible and the hidden. Natural cycles also extend to the seasons, reminding us that everything has a time: planting, harvesting, growing, and resting. Those who observe nature realize that abundance comes to those who respect this sacred flow. Thus, Wicca teaches us to see life as a continuous ritual, where each step is part of a cosmic dance guided by the moon. And it is at this moment that the need arises to dispel prejudices and see Wiccan magic for what it truly is: a practice of connection, healing, and wisdom, and not the dark witchcraft many still imagine. Many people still associate the word magic with something dark, filled with fear and negative mystery. But Wicca demonstrates just the opposite. It's a practice that values nature, harmony, and spiritual awakening. White magic, as it's called, doesn't seek to control or harm, but rather to generate balance and connection with the sacred. It's the power to transform the energy of the environment into something beneficial, creating protection, healing, and abundance in everyday life. Those who look closely realize there's nothing dark about it. but rather an invitation to the light. An example of this is gratitude rituals. While many people think of complicated spells, Wicca teaches that simply thanking the moon, trees, or the elements is already an act of power. This ancient practice opens the way for greater harmony in life, because the universe responds to the energy we emit. Carrying a quartz stone, lighting a white candle, or preparing tea with intention are simple forms of spirituality that demonstrate that magic is everywhere, without any hint of evil. By demystifying Wicca, we realize that the secret lies not in something hidden and dangerous, but in forgotten knowledge, living in connection with nature and one's own essence. Ancient wisdom shows that true transformation comes from the balance of body, mind, and spirit. And as this prejudice dissolves, the path opens to the next step, where Wiccan practice reveals itself as a profound journey of self-discovery, capable of awakening gifts and strengthening inner power. Wicca isn't limited to external rituals. It leads each practitioner on a journey within themselves. It is in this inner journey that true magic is discovered, the power to recognize strengths, heal wounds, and find balance between reason and emotion. Wiccan spirituality teaches that, just as the moon goes through phases, human beings also experience cycles of transformation. Spiritual awakening arises when we understand that our shadows are not enemies, but teachers who reveal hidden wisdom and guide us toward healing. In practice, this path can be cultivated through simple actions, such as writing about the day's emotions in a journal, or meditating by observing one's own body as part of nature. Reading works of ancient wisdom, such as texts on the elements and their influence, also helps awaken inner power. Every gesture, no matter how small, strengthens the circle of connection between the individual and divinity. It is in this process that spirituality becomes alive, creating harmony and abundance in all areas of life. Self-knowledge, within Wicca, is more than reflection. It is ritual in motion. By recognizing one's inner strength, one learns to transform pain into wisdom, fear into courage, and silence into protection. Wiccan practice teaches that there is no need to run from oneself, but to embrace each part as sacred. And as this awakening intensifies, the desire to understand the greater energies that surround us naturally arises, those that manifest in divinity, honored in rituals that invoke the ancient gods. In the Wiccan tradition, the ancient gods are not merely distant figures in mythological stories. They represent living forces of nature that continue to pulse in the world. Honoring these deities is recognizing the power of the sun and moon, rain and fire, masculine and feminine in balance. This invocation is not about idolatry, but about connection. By lighting a candle to the moon goddess or offering a prayer to the harvest god, the practitioner awakens the sacred energy that moves life. It is an ancient dialogue that lives on in every ritual. This connection can be cultivated in practical and simple ways. On a full moon night, for example, raising your arms toward the sky and giving thanks for the abundance of life is already a form of invocation. The same happens when offering flowers to the earth or fresh water to a river as a sign of respect. These seemingly small gestures activate spirituality and strengthen the connection with the hidden mystery that surrounds the cosmos. Divine energy doesn't require grand ceremonies, but sincerity, balance, and clear intention. By honoring these gods, the practitioner realizes that divinity is not separate from them, but dwells within and without, in the circle of life. This ancient wisdom teaches that we are extensions of nature itself, guardians of the sacred. The power born from this connection brings protection, harmony, and strength to face the challenges of everyday life. And, as this connection deepens, so too does the curiosity to explore the spells that have spanned centuries, holding within them the hidden legacy of white magic and everyday transformations. Spells have always aroused curiosity, often shrouded in mystery and even fear. However, within Wicca, they are understood as tools of balance and transformation, ways to channel energy and spirituality for a specific purpose. A spell is nothing more than a ritual of intention, a bridge between the invisible and the everyday. When practiced consciously, it carries the ancient force that connects human beings to nature, revealing the hidden power that has always been available. In practice, these spells can be surprisingly simple. Write a word on a piece of paper and burn it in a candle flame to open pathways. Prepare a small sachet of protective herbs to carry in your pocket, or even make a circle of salt around your bed to ensure peaceful nights. These rituals, though discreet, have a real impact because they combine intention, energy, and connection with the elements. They are examples of how white magic manifests itself in everyday life, bringing abundance, protection, and healing. The most fascinating thing is realizing that these spells are not modern inventions, but inheritances of ancient wisdom passed down from generation to generation. Every whispered word, every intentional gesture, keeps the link with the sacred alive. The hidden legacy of spells shows that true power lies not in secret formulas, but in the ability to transform energy into concrete action. And it is precisely from this understanding that the ultimate calling is born: spiritual awakening, when each person recognizes that they also carry within themselves the spark of divinity. There comes a time when the entire path of Wicca reveals its true essence, awakening the magic within. This call is not an external invitation, but a gentle voice that echoes within the soul, reminding us that each human being is part of divinity, a guardian of nature, and a bearer of ancient wisdom. Spiritual awakening is like lighting a candle in the dark. Suddenly, the hidden is illuminated, and what seemed mysterious transforms into strength, protection, and abundance. Heeding this call means understanding that spirituality is not something distant or reserved for a select few, but a living and accessible practice. Meditating under a full moon, creating a balancing circle in one's bedroom, or simply thanking the sun at sunrise are examples of rituals that awaken a connection with the sacred. These are gestures that recall inner power, ancestral energy, and the harmony that exists between human beings and the elements. The secret lies in recognizing that every act, when done with intention, is magic. This spiritual awakening never ends. It renews itself with each cycle, each spell, each lesson learned. It's a journey of constant transformation, where the force of nature guides, protects, and inspires. The circle never fully closes, because there's always more wisdom to be revealed. The call is there, waiting to be answered, and it's up to each person to decide whether to continue living on autopilot or to embrace white magic as a path to healing and balance. After all, the divine spark burns within us all. We just need to allow it to shine. Now that you've traveled this path, tell me, will you continue to see nature merely as a backdrop, or will you recognize in it the sacred circle that awakens your true power? Wiccan magic isn't a distant theory, it's a living practice, and it only transforms those who decide to put it into action. How many times have you missed signs from the moon, the energy around you, or your own intuition? Perhaps it's time to take control and use this knowledge to bring more balance, protection, and abundance into your life. Think about it. What would change if, starting today, you began creating small rituals of connection with the elements? A lit candle, a crystal charged in the sun, a silent prayer to the full moon. These are simple gestures that can open doors of healing, strength, and transformation. The secret is to never postpone the spiritual awakening, because the universe responds to those who act. And if you've come this far, you already know that this calling is no accident. So I challenge you, will you ignore this divine spark that pulses within you, or will you allow it to shine? If this message touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will continue learning about the hidden mysteries of spirituality, discovering ancient secrets, and awakening the power that has always been dormant within you. After all, true magic happens when you decide to walk this circle of wisdom.